Midwest. Welcome back to another episode of Midwest Today. I'm Ethan, here with my fantastic co-host, Sarah. How are you doing, Sarah? Ready for the weekend?
I sure am, Ethan. This week has flown by, and I'm excited for all the great stuff happening around Chicago. I'm already hearing the Air and Water Show practice.
I know, right? I'm looking forward to seeing them over the lake tomorrow. Plus, it's the perfect excuse to hang out at the beach with some friends. What about you? Any big plans?
I'll be continuing my brat summer at market days. Sidetrack has that glow party tonight, and I just can't resist. Neon lights, good music. It's going to be a blast. I think I saw they have a brat wall to take a picture with.
Sounds fun. I may have to join in. But before we dive into the weekend, we've got some pretty interesting stories lined up for today's episode. Let's get started, shall we? First up, let's talk about one of the quirkiest stories I've heard in a while. A Chicago area brewery, Noon Whistle, brewing in Lombard, decided to get a little too creative this summer by infusing Malört with, you guessed it, cicadas.
Oh, wow. Just when you think Malört couldn't get any more intense, right?
Exactly. This limited edition cicada-infused Malört was created to celebrate the rare simultaneous emergence of the 17-year and 13-year cicada broods. They describe the flavor as lobster-like. But as you might expect, the Illinois Liquor Control Commission wasn't exactly thrilled.
No surprise there. Apparently, they issued a fine for violating state regulations related to the use of non-traditional ingredients in alcoholic beverages. It's a bummer because they really went out of their way to ensure the cicadas were safe for consumption. Cooked, sterilized, the whole 9 yards.
Even with the legal setback, the cicada-infused Malört became a bit of a phenomenon in the Chicago area. People were lining up to try it, though I'm sure it was more for the story than the taste.
Definitely a once-in-a-lifetime experience, if not exactly a culinary delight. The co-founder of Noon Whistle Brewing mentioned they have no regrets. It was all about pushing boundaries and creating something memorable.
Well, they certainly succeeded in that. And even with the fine, they've left their mark on Chicago's craft beer scene in a way few others have. Now, what's next on our list? All right, next up, we're taking a look at sustainability efforts across the Midwest. You know, the region isn't just about cornfields and industry. We've got some serious green initiatives going on here.
That's right. Let's start with Minneapolis, Minnesota. This city is leading the charge by committing to source 100% of its electricity for municipal operations from renewable sources by 2030. They've also got a fantastic public transportation system with light rail and bus rapid transit helping to reduce the city's carbon footprint.
And don't forget about their recycling and composting programs, which are among the most robust in the country. Next on our list is Madison, Wisconsin. Madison is renowned for its renewable energy goals, aiming for 100% renewable energy by 2050. Plus, it's one of the most bike-friendly cities in the nation.
Madison's investment in solar power and energy-efficient buildings is really paying off. They've also got a comprehensive recycling program that shows their commitment to sustainability isn't just talk. Chicago is also making big strides in this area.
Definitely. Chicago's investments in renewable energy, particularly in wind and solar power, are a big part of its sustainability push. And let's not forget our extensive public transportation system, which plays a huge role in reducing emissions. The city's aggressive recycling programs and green building initiatives are also making a difference.
Moving on to Cleveland, Ohio, this city is focusing on renewable energy and green infrastructure, with a goal to source 100% of its electricity from renewable sources by 2050. Their public transportation improvements and waste reduction policies are helping to create a more sustainable urban environment.
And last but certainly not least, we have Ann Arbor, Michigan. Though smaller in size, Ann Arbor is a powerhouse when it comes to sustainability. They've set an ambitious target of achieving carbon neutrality by 2030 and are investing heavily in renewable energy projects, particularly solar power.
Ann Arbor's comprehensive recycling and composting programs are also noteworthy. It's proof that even smaller cities can make a big impact when it comes to sustainability. These cities are setting the bar high, showing the rest of the country that the Midwest can be a hub for green living.
Absolutely. It's inspiring to see how these communities are coming together to create a more sustainable future. Now, let's switch gears to something a little different. Next up, we've got an interesting development right here in Chicago. The city is considering a bold new initiative to tackle the issue of food deserts, particularly on the south and west sides. They're looking into creating a network of city-owned grocery stores.
This is a really innovative idea. A recent report commissioned by the city proposed building 3 city-owned grocery stores with an estimated upfront cost of $26.7 million. The goal is to provide reliable access to fresh groceries in neighborhoods that have been historically underserved by major grocery chains.
What's unique about this proposal is that the focus wouldn't be on profitability. Instead, it's all about ensuring that everyone in Chicago has access to healthy food options. The idea is that more profitable locations could help subsidize those in less affluent areas, addressing the economic disparities that have plagued Chicago's food landscape for years.
This move is part of Mayor Brandon Johnson's broader efforts to combat food insecurity, a critical issue that's gained urgency as major retailers like Walmart and Whole Foods have pulled out of these vulnerable communities. If successful, Chicago could become the first major U.S. city to operate its own network of grocery stores.
It's a big step and one that could set a precedent for other cities facing similar challenges. By taking control of grocery retail, Chicago hopes to fill the gap left by these closures and provide a sustainable solution to the problem of food deserts.
It's still in the early stages, but this could be a game changer for food equity in urban areas. It's definitely something to keep an eye on as it develops. Now, let's talk about a construction project that's reaching for the skies in Milwaukee.
Milwaukee is making headlines with its plans to build the world's tallest timber skyscraper. That's right, the city is already home to the 25-story Ascent Tower, but now they're looking to more than double that height with a new unnamed project that could reach up to 55 floors.
This new skyscraper, planned as part of the Marcus Performing Arts Center renovations, will be nearly 600 feet tall when complete. It's a massive endeavor, featuring up to 750 residential units, 190,000 square feet of office space, 40,000 square feet of retail space, 300 hotel rooms, and more.
And the best part? It's going to be built largely from engineered mass timber materials. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wooden skyscrapers? But these aren't your typical wooden beams. We're talking about mass timber, which is factory-made using layers of wood glued together to form a much stronger material.
Exactly. Materials like glulam and cross-laminated timber, CLT, are specifically designed to withstand stress, moisture, and environmental pressures. In fact, mass timber is often cheaper, lighter, and more eco-friendly than traditional building materials like concrete and steel.
There are some safety limits, though. New International Building Code standards limit mass timber-only projects to 18 floors, so this skyscraper will likely require some concrete and steel reinforcements. But even with those, Milwaukee is set to secure its status as the home of the world's tallest timber skyscraper for a while.
It's an exciting project that showcases the potential of eco-friendly architecture. If all goes according to plan, Milwaukee will not only make history again, but also set a new standard for sustainable urban construction.
Absolutely. It's great to see a Midwest city leading the way in such an innovative field. Now, let's shift our focus to a small town that's making a big impact in the world of architecture. Columbus, Indiana, might not be the first place that comes to mind when you think of modern design, but this town has become a mecca for modern architecture.
That's right. Columbus has a rich history of embracing bold architectural ideas, thanks in large part to the Cummins Foundation Architecture Program. This initiative, started in the 1950s by Cummins CEO J. Irwin Miller, brought some of the world's top architects to this small Midwestern town to design public buildings like schools, churches, and libraries.
And we're not talking about just any architects. Big names like I.M. Pei, Cesar Pelli, and Harry Weese all left their mark on Columbus. creating buildings that stand out for their innovative design and modernist principles. It's a post-war vision of a better city that has withstood the test of time.
The town's reputation is so strong that even today, architects like Marlon Blackwell are taking on projects in Columbus. Blackwell, who received the American Institute of Architects Gold Medal in 2020, is working on a new air traffic control tower at the regional airport, continuing the town's legacy of architectural excellence.
It's incredible how a town of just 50,000 people has managed to become a hub for modern architecture. And it's not just about the buildings themselves, it's about the community's commitment to creating spaces that are both functional and beautiful, with a deep respect for design.
A new book, American Modern Architecture, Community, Columbus, Indiana by Matt Shaw, delves into this rich history. The book highlights how Columbus's architectural ambitions have shaped the town's identity and connected it to broader social and political changes in post-war America.
Columbus shows that even small towns can make a big impact when they prioritize quality and innovation. It's a lesson in how good design can elevate a community, making it a better place to live and work.
And as we look to the future, it's clear that Columbus will continue to be a beacon of modern architecture in the Midwest. It's a town that's never been afraid to push the boundaries, and it's exciting to see what's next on the horizon.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode of Midwest Today. We've covered everything from Chicago's quirky cicada-infused Malört to Milwaukee's ambitious plans for the world's tallest timber skyscraper, and of course, the architectural gem that is Columbus, Indiana.
It's been a packed episode, but we hope you enjoyed the mix of stories. There's always something interesting happening in the Midwest, and we're here to bring it all to you.
And don't forget, if you're in Chicago this weekend, there's so much to do. Market Days, the Air and Water Show, and the Crosstown Classic. It's going to be a blast, so get out there and enjoy it.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll be back next week with more stories from the Heartland. Until then, stay tuned and stay Midwestern.